Hey, everybody, it is Tuesday. And what does that mean? It means that you are one of the 10 million audience members to the Ed and Ken mini podcast. Ken Jordan, how are you this morning?
I am wonderful as always, Ed. It's good to see you. I look forward. I swear, I look forward to this every single week.
Me too, man. I love it. And wise move. Ken and I get together. We start talking, and Ken is brilliant enough. He's had a little bit less caffeine than me. And he's like, dude, let's just hit record and start talking. So let's hit it. We're going to talk today about really maybe the difference between a book, an oldie but goodie, The Slight Edge, and a newer book that was probably released, I'm going to say 5 years ago, called U Squared, How to Make a Quantum Leap. So kick it off, man. What have you been looking at as it relates to the slight edge? What's coming to mind there?
Well, I will tell you that, and one of the reasons I was looking forward to this conversation today was because I know that, as much as you and I align in some universal stuff, I'm always curious to get your take on some of the things that are, maybe a little more granular. Here's what I was discussing, what we were discussing earlier, that I think I'd love to vet out, and that is the myth of the quantum leap. In my experience, in the decisions that I've made in various aspects of my life where I decide, hey, this is what I'm going to do, right? And whether it's run a marathon or you close X amount of transactions or buy a new home or whatever, I always felt like the time that I achieved the goal and the time that I set out to achieve that goal, that time difference always seems shorter on the back end than it does in reality. I don't remember all of the minute details of the journey that got me to that point where I achieved what I set out to achieve. And I think over the years, I have been lulled into a false sense of confidence that if I want something, all I have to do is X, Y, and Z, and boom, it's there. And it's played out in my production. There are years where I take production from X to Y, and I'm like, oh, well, now I'm going to take it from Y to... And I tend to forget how much work it took to get from X to Y. So to go from Y to Z, if I'm not careful, I can really work off of mismanaged expectations and get discouraged when I'm not seeing the results. And it was just a really cool way for the author of the Slight Edge talking about the myth of the quantum leap. And so I brought that to you today. And of course, you were like, well, kind of. What do you see in what I just said? Like, do you believe that the quantum leap is a myth? Now I'm going to go on a limb and say, the book that you're going to, but share with me about point counterpoint. I say quantum leap is a myth. What do you say?
Yeah. So it depends, and it depends like what subject, what topic are we talking about? So I'll give you an example of how it relates to the business of a real estate agent. So real estate agent today, whether it's today or 20 years ago, typically what they hear from the person teaching the class is, oh, hey, by the way, it takes a while to build your business. Don't expect to make any money your first year.
That's discouraging.
Right? It's like, what? So the quantum leap, the first thing I would say is, number one, and I'm going back to this, Ken, and I sort of forgotten about it. The first thing we all should do, even if we're all the way down our path of our career, like you are, or like I am, I just did this 2 weeks ago. Do a DISC assessment. Do another behavioral assessment. I believe that the quantum leap fits a certain profile. I believe the slight edge fits a certain profile, but they both actually can be combined. I'm more interested in looking at methodology. So I'll give you an example. I wrote down Sussex Fitness Center, 1985. I do my bench press warm up, and I would, at the time, I was trying to get 250 pounds, bench press 250 pounds. And I literally would get
That's like one of me.
I would get 235 pounds 4 times. So you'd think I could get 250 pounds once.
Sure.
And it felt like a freight train coming down on me, and I couldn't lift it. Couldn't get the lift. Guy, the meathead that I'm working out with, says, dude, sometimes we get stuck on a weight. Just go to 260. My hand to God. I pick up 260 pounds. Bam! I'm like, how does that work? I don't know. But that's a quantum leap. How do I get stuck on 250 and get 260 the same day? I don't know. When it comes to the momentum, and then I want to hear from you. It doesn't matter if it's the slight edge or it's the quantum leap. They both require momentum to keep us in the game. If we aren't getting results, and this is where I truly believe that our brains are wired differently. So there are certain people, and the best way I can look at this is like, say, weight loss. 2 people go on a weight loss thing, right? I released 30 pounds in 77 days and have kept it off for 5 years. That's my healthy body weight. Somebody else, that might be too quick for them. They may not want to dedicate themselves to intermittent fasting. So they may be good with 3 pounds a month for 10 months. I can't do that, man. That's not enough evidence for me to go, cool, I'm staying in the game here. Does that make sense?
It does, and I think that you're absolutely right. Momentum is critical in the required perseverance. Like, in order to persevere, you have to feel momentum, and momentum is one of the greatest gifts to the universe. It's something that not only helps with personal development, but business. And once you understand the concept of momentum, and you don't let the momentum fade, then yes, I think you can achieve some amazing things. Too often people, they feel the momentum and then they think, oh, this is easy. And then they let the momentum fade. And like, now they got to start pretty much all over again. But it takes time to build momentum, but time is relative, I guess, right? Like, so how much time does it take to build momentum is like saying how long is a piece of string, right? Like, it just doesn't equate, right? I look at recruiting, and as you recruit real estate agents and I recruit loan officers, I think one of the biggest stumbling blocks for recruiters, if they're not aware of the time component, they can end up really overpromising to a recruit what's possible in the next 12 months. You bring these recruits in and they're like, I want to double my production. Okay. Do you know how hard it is to double your production if you're doing the same thing that you're doing right now? Now, of course, if you can get them to agree to completely re-engineer their system and their processes, then doubling your production, sure, that's possible. But I think that as recruiters, as people who are helping, as we are trying to help our people, I think that there are too many people out there saying, sure, just, yeah, you could do that. I saw this person do it. I saw that person do it. It's possible. But if you're not truly re-engineering how you do things, you're not going to double your production.
Yeah.
You're not.
Dude, I love it. And I think we talked about this last week. So the difference between the slight edge momentum and the quantum leap edge, you might, dude, if you use this as a quote and don't give me credit for it, man, like, not that I have a legal team, but I'm going to start sending you Johnny and Sophia's dirty diapers in the mail. That's all. That's what I got.
All right, hit me with it.
So here it is. This, right? There's 3 types of people: the interested, the committed, and the obsessed. The committed, and there's nothing wrong with it, they will probably choose the slight edge process. The obsessed will probably look at the quantum leap and go, how do I go from here to there? So that might be the dumbest comment ever, but I think it's great.
Well, so let's talk about U squared. Let's talk about the quantum leap concept and how it compares to my perception of what I'm defining as a quantum leap. What does it mean when you hear the word quantum leap?
Yeah. Remember the old quote, if you shoot for the moon and you land on the stars, you're still way ahead of where you were when you began.
Sure.
It's sort of like that. So quantum leap is if like the way that I always started agents out when they were brand new, if they were brand new agents, I'd say, hey, this is the way your business is going to go. You're going to follow this. We're going to do this. 45 days from now, you're going to have your first settlement. 30 days after that, you're going to have your second settlement. 30 days after that, you're going to have your third settlement. 30 days after that, you're going to have 2 settlements for the rest of your career. And with the average sales price, this is what that's going to put you at $200,000 in your first 15 months of your real estate career. Now, do you think that's unreasonable?
No, I don't. But I also think there's a difference between the new agent that doesn't know any better and the agent that's struggling that thinks, I don't understand why I'm not here. Mm-hmm. I'm doing X, Y, and Z, and I'm frustrated.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between the two?
Dude, this is so cool. So the difference between the two is the obsession of mastering everything, not just knowing how to do it, but mastering psychology, mastering physiology, mastering questions.
So you think that the new agent has more of an obsession around mastery because they're soaking it all in, they're a sponge, they're curious, like.
No, I think we fail miserably in the industry of teaching new agents how to do the business. That's what I think. I think we completely mislead them in what is most important like we start to teach them how to sell scripts. Like, no, man, they need to master the agreement of sale. That's the first thing. And by the way, that only takes about 5 days of reading it 5 times a day, writing 5 agreements of sale, mock, back and forth negotiating with your mentor, with your whoever. In a week, you can master that. I knew more about the agreement of sale within 2 weeks of working with Janet Stretch back in the day than most agents who were in the business for 10 years. And it's not because I was that smart. It's because I had an unbelievable mentor.
Yeah. And I think that goes the same for loan officers when it comes to guidelines in the 1003. Like they got to understand.
That's where the confidence comes from.
Yeah. Yeah.
In fact, when I would list homes, that was my thing. I literally would go in and say, look, any moron can sell your house, right? The reason why you're going to hire me to represent you at the settlement table is because I'm a master in the agreement of sale.
Yeah. So a frustrated agent, mm-hmm. They master the agreement of sale. They're still not getting the production that they think they should be getting based on their behaviors and their habits and their actions. When you first get into business, you are 100% faith. You're 100% faith. Like you have nothing to look back on, nothing to say, here's how I do, here's what. Someone's telling you and you're taking it 100% by faith. As you get to be 3-4 years in the business and you've leveled off, your best thinking, your best habits, your best actions got you to here. So what am I going to do to get here? If what you were about to do, like if you knew 100% that these behaviors, changing these behaviors was going to get you to the next level, you would do it. You would 100% do it if you knew. I think the agents and loan officers get to the middle of their career. The reason they plateau is because they lose faith. They lose faith that they have to change something in order to get to the next level. If they knew, they walk into a dark room. This was a great analogy. You walk into the dark room. What's the first thing you do? You
Turn the
you
light
you
on.
reach for the light switch. Why? Does anybody need to motivate you to reach for the light switch? Does anybody need to talk you into it? Does anybody need, no, because you know that all you got to do is turn the light switch on and the lights come on. I think that until you have that level of confidence that your behaviors are going to result in a certain action, you're not really eager to do these things. You resist them. And I think that comes from a misunderstanding of the time and energy it took you to get to where you are. And you forget how hard it was. You forget how much work you put in to get to the next level. And all of a sudden you're like not willing to put in the work because you think it should be easier.
Yeah. So I love it, dude. And we overcomplicate everything. So I know you know him, and it's great because he is what I'm seeing from the 20-year-olds in our business is they're just getting it done and they're looking at things in a so somebody called me and said, "Hey, how what's the secret to this guy doing open houses?" Sam Walls has done, I don't know, he's on a mission to do 100 open houses in 100 days. It's really cool.
I'm watching every single day.
21-year-old kid is really helping a lot of agents, right? I think he's already written 4 deals in 21 days. Like not buyer agency agreements. I'm talking sales. So you know what the secret to his open houses are? Right now, think he's 21 years old. His middle name is Google and AI. You know what the secret to his open houses are? 20 signs, big A-frame signs, directionals, 20 of them. Who would have ever thought in 2025 that a 21-year-old agent would come in and start going, I'm just going to do the old school stuff, open houses, and that's the way I'm going to make money. And my biggest technology is going to be a sign, 20 of them. But
that's interesting.
That's what's happening, right?
So
we overcomplicate stuff. It's like, look, here, like it's the whether it's the quantum leap or the slight edge, it's all about action. And it's all about keeping score. This is where I see the slight edge sometimes lull people to sleep. So what I mean by that is the slight edge. I remember there was an agent. I never checked his production. He was with me in my Exton office, but he was the guy with the headset on. Hi, this is Joe Smo from KW calling. I see that your house came up on the expired list. Was just wondering why it didn't sell. And I'm like, whoa, this dude's unbelievable. He is on that headset on 3 hours a day. He's doing what Gary Keller's telling him to do from the stage. Oh my God, right? I prompt him up in a sales meeting, go, hey, he's taking action. The slight edge, the process. One day I go back to it's October, dude. I go back to and I just decided to look up his production. He'd sold 2 houses all year. And he must have done something wrong that year because when I saw that, he walked by my office and I screamed, yo, get the F in here. Close the door.
So it's obviously the right action is important. And this brings up a whole nother concept we could talk for hours on, measuring your results and iterating on your actions to reflect the results that you're looking for. And someone who spends an entire year, 3 hours a day on the phone with 2 closings, they are not measuring their results. They're hooked on they're so hooked on the process that they don't care about the results. And we've seen that a million times. That's not the way you want to live. But what you just said that I want to really highlight is the word action. And what I love about what this kid's doing with his open houses is that massive action equals massive results. Sowing and reaping. Sow sparingly and you shall reap sparingly. sow abundantly and you'll reap abundantly. And I do believe that massive action is the antidote to all of it. All of it. Massive action over time compounds and builds momentum. Momentum gives you the leap that you're looking for. But you're not going to achieve what you want to achieve in life linearly, right?
Yeah.
It has to have an exponential component. The results have to have an exponential component, or you're just probably one of two things: not taking the right action or not taking enough action.
Yes. Or the worst case scenario is running the wrong way to see the sunset for 2 years and going, how come I haven't seen the sunset? I'm down here every night. I never know which way the sun sets, east or west. I'm geographically challenged. I'm just never going to get it. And that's okay. That's okay. But running the wrong way to see the sunset, it's not going to set that way.
I hear that. That is absolutely true. So I'm going to recommend this book. I'm about a third of the way through. I'm going to recommend it to anybody who's still listening at minute 21. God bless you as always for still listening. I am getting a lot out of this book, and the thought of momentum, the concept of time, and how time is different, in hindsight than it is in reality. I think that it's great. I'm going to check out the book U Squared. I'll write that down. U Squared. Another one I want to check out.
Price Pritchett, I think, is the author's name. Price Pritchett, something like that. Yeah.
Do we want to get into the energy wall? Do we want to get into the wall conversation, or should we save that for the next podcast?
We could save it for the next podcast, but I would just say Ken and I give you, the listeners, permission to take a nap.
I like that.
Just take a nap. If you get tired, take a nap. You will be 36% more productive if when you get tired during the day, you take a 10-minute nap.
There's your action, people. There's your action for the week. Listen to your body, embrace the nap, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in our next time we get together. Sound good?
That sounds great, brother.
Ed, enjoyed it as always, my man.
Yeah, man.